One, two, three, four, five.
Top 5 Gaming Podcast, Episode 2. In this podcast, Casey, Ben, and Austin talk about Ben's top 5 games of all time. Alright, Ben. What's your number 5 top game of all time?
Are we recording?
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Now we are.
Have we been recording this entire time?
Oh, I hope so.
No. I just started.
Oh, okay. Number 5 on my list of top games of ever, according to me, Ben.
Nice.
Wait, who are you?
Ben.
Ben?
The
Okay.
infamous.
Ben?
Tell us about yourself.
I'm Ben. That's
Okay,
all you
good.
need to know.
Ben plays video games occasionally.
Very badly.
And occasionally very well.
It's not very well, most of the time.
Ben plays some shooters, some RPGs. He'll obsess over some games.
I've already quit Final Fantasy 15 though, because it's a pile of garbage.
Oh, you did? Holy shit! I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to play it.
I haven't exactly quit.
You just haven't played in a
But-
while?
Well, every time I've gone to play it, I guess I've over-leveled myself, where I can't get, and the game is very dependent on gear. So, and everything is scaled based on your level. So I'm like level 45, and all my quests are like level 30, and I can't even kill any of them.
Jeez.
So- It's very frustrating getting one hit by level 30 monster when you're level 40.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
And all the, those like monsters that get dropped on you from dropships, those scale with your level 2, and those one shot you now too. So
Jeez.
Now that's some horse shit.
yeah,
So I'm assuming that this game isn't in your top 5?
yes, that is absent. Like every Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 7 is also going to be absent.
No fucking way.
Actually, there is no Final Fantasy that's on my top. They've been all
Wow.
not bad.
Jeez.
Number 5 would be the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
That's a good fucking game, Benjamin.
It
Okay,
is.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Because what the hell do I have to say about this?
You should say how much you want to play it.
I like Skyrim.
Then you might not like Morrowind, but you
Okay.
should.
I think you'd like Morrowind if you tried it.
Okay.
I think Skyrim's a lot more like Morrowind than it is Oblivion,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. I feel like Oblivion got streamlined a bit from Morrowind. Like, one of the things that I didn't like about Oblivion is how shit scaled to your level, you know? So you'd get,
Yeah.
like, those Oblivion gates that'd come up, and then when you get to be a high level, it was all, like, the best fucking enemies that the game could throw at you, and it'd take too much time. Where if in Morrowind you knew where the fucking Daedric bow was, you could get a levitation potion or whatever, get a levitation spell and go up and fucking find it. Out of the gate.
Skyrim has some of the same stuff like that, but I think it's a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not, like, I don't know, I have like 70 hours in Skyrim. I didn't play it half as much as I played Morrowind.
yeah.
So I don't really know a lot of the ins and outs. I just know that like the first few main quests, like the back of my hand, but I don't know. Is there like shit in Skyrim that you can get like high level stuff early on in the game or something like that?
Not that I know of, because I never really had that much of a drive to go back and play Skyrim multiple times.
Yeah.
To be honest, like
Yeah.
I did Morrowind.
Yeah. Remember that fucking Dwemer cube? That little tiny Dwemer cube in that, I don't know, it's probably one of the first story quests or something. That's in like the bottom of this, I don't know, Dwemer ruin in like on the bottom shelf in this one room. And that was the objective of the
Oh.
quest.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'll never forget where that fucking thing is. But if it was fucking Oblivion or Skyrim, they would give you like a quest indicator for that exact position of the thing, you know?
Yeah,
That was one of the things I liked about Morrowind is there wasn't a lot of hand holding.
you did have an indicator when you were close.
Oh, okay.
Like you kind of had like a compass heading on Morrowind, but that was about it.
Yeah.
That
And then you played
modding,
all those DLCs from Morrowind. I remember that. I didn't really play those. There's like
yeah,
Tribunal and something else.
uh, Blood of the Moon, I believe it was something to do. It was like a werewolf expansion, where this like werewolf. It was like it dealt with like a Nordic island to the north of Morrowind, and there was like this curse of the blood moon, something that would turn you into a werewolf, and you get werewolf powers, and there was a whole quest line with like the god of the night and whatever. But
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
I liked how like you could fucking kill the gods or whatever, you know, like Vivek.
Yeah,
And that I always thought that was neat. Like they were a big fucking deal, and you could murder them if you wanted to.
yeah. I think you can do that. Well, no, 'cause some of them were like invincible in Oblivion. It didn't like let you screw yourself over completely. They just made like the quest NPCs invincible pretty much.
Yeah.
But
Have you played any of like those mods that have been made, like the remastered Morrowinds or like the Morrowind and like the Oblivion engine or whatever?
I haven't yet. No,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to, but
Yeah, I was thinking about trying that out whenever they, made it complete or whatever.
I believe they're still working on the Skyrim engine one
Yeah,
of
that would be
Morrowind.
pretty awesome.
I mean, Morrowind was the first game I ever played with mods.
Oh
And-
yeah, I had
and
a friend at
really-
USC who he's now like a computer engineer. He works for like I don't know, banks or something like that.
Mhm.
But he got into computer engineering by modding Morrowind, and he didn't even like playing Morrowind that much. He just liked modding the crap out of it. That was pretty
That's
cool.
funny.
Yeah. But what kind of mods did you slap on Morrowind, if you remember?
Oh, so many. Like I can't even remember the website that it was. But I would just go through and look through like, people would make like their own armor sets, and they'd have like, they'd create like a little backstory to their armor set and their weapons, and then, with the special effects, and they even like have like little scenarios where you got it, or mini like quests kind of things,
Yeah.
and they would just be like custom made like armor sets, gowns, and like robes and stuff, and to try to like some would just make you into like a real looking wizard, and because some of the stuff was kind of lacking in like mage gear and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and everybody had their own custom elfin armor or something. But,
Yeah. Wasn't that like one of the first, or it's one of the only games that I can think of, and probably the first game that I can think of that came with like a modding toolkit, like with the game, like the Morrowind construction set or whatever I think it was called.
yeah, as far as I know of, I don't know. I mean, there was modding of other games like Doom way before that, but
Maybe they
probably one
didn't
of the
come with
most-
like developer tools for people to do it. Maybe the community developed their own tools or something. I don't know.
No, it was definitely available with the game, and there was actually a lot of very ambitious projects that I even tried out. Like, if you remember the Morrowind Island, like there was like a bunch of like space in the sea to
Oh.
like the left.
Yeah, yeah.
If you ever looked at like the map,
Mm-hmm.
and like a bunch of people made like,
Additional land masses.
yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of them. Like, some even called them like Daggerfall, kind of things. But they were one I played that was I can't remember the name of it, but it there's like this giant island with like inhabited by elves, and there's like even like quest lines and storylines, and it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I remember when we were younger, I had like that map of Morrowind in my room or something, and then we'd just be eating at a restaurant out. We'd play a game where who could name the most Morrowind cities.
My God.
It's such a cool map. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. I still have it, and I have Oblivion's map, and I was meaning to get Skyrim's map, but I never ended up getting it. I'm sure I can
'cause,
find it somewhere.
it not only was it just a really good game, but like even like the materials, like the map and all the stuff included with it was pretty cool and well done, and
Yeah,
the modding tools were well done and set off. I mean, modding in like Skyrim was like a given, just because of the history that Elder Scrolls is building up with mods.
yeah.
Um,
A lot of people, whenever they mention Morrowind on like online, they'll mention how dark it is compared to like Oblivion and Skyrim, like the tone of the game or whatever, and it's like more, I don't know, mystical or something. Like I think it has like a lot more varied landscape. Like there's like the mountain in the middle, and there's a whole bunch of like mountains or whatever, and then along the coast there's a different kind of atmosphere, and I don't know. I think that they had like those mage guilds and those mage cities that had like completely different architecture than the rest of the game, and like Vivek looked different than any other city. I don't know.
yeah, they did have like unique architecture per like faction, and you could even, if you joined high enough with one of them, they'd build you a house in that style.
Oh
too,
shit, I
which is
forgot about that. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you got like your own house if you got like high enough with one of the things, and like there's no like going back either. There's like you had to choose somebody and you had to ride and die with them,
Yeah.
or else if you betrayed them, you lost all your shit, and you
Yeah.
couldn't, and everybody else is like, nah, we're not gonna take you either. You were dicks to us before.
Yeah.
So,
I like the fast travel system in that game better than like Skyrim. Like you could take the Silk Striders or whatever, like pay money to go there, or you could
Yeah.
talk to some mages and they'd teleport you and shit.
but only if you had like high enough standing in the Mages Guild, I think, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I think that that's neat too. Like that gives you incentive to do that.
And I believe you had to have traveled to that place at least once as well.
Yeah.
I
I know
think.
you could take the Silk Striders without Silt or Silk. I don't remember.
Silt. Yeah, I believe it's Silt. S-I-L-T.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning of the game, after you get your name and all that, and you walk out and there's the Silt Strider, you can go straight to Balmora if you want to. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I remember.
But you could only go to certain ones. Like there was like an actual like network. Like, oh, from this station you can only get to this place, and this place. But if you go to there, you can go to this place, and this place. Like it was like the nearest 4 places you could get to from that place.
Yeah.
And the other, it wasn't just like, oh, you go to one Silt Strider, you can go anywhere. You had to like, it was like almost like a above ground subway system.
Yeah. And I guess that made you like really have to know the map as opposed to like Skyrim where they just give you the map indicators and you just go where they tell you to go and you don't really
Yeah.
have to learn your surroundings. Is there any other like differences with Morrowind that you'd like to see in future Elder Scrolls, or what you'd like to see, like, I don't know, what you think Morrowind does better than Oblivion and Skyrim that we didn't already mention?
And like some of the spontaneity of the quests was a lot better in Morrowind. Like even just like at the start where you leave the town and you can hear some guy falling and screaming,
Yeah,
and
that
then
was
falls
awesome.
like right in front of your face and you have no idea why.
Yeah.
There's a dead guy, a mage, and then you look at his person and you see like a scroll of far falling or something. I can't remember what it's called, but
Yeah. It was
but
like
that was just, like,
Acrobatics
so
1000 or something.
yeah, you could like literally jump and for like the entire map, and
And
they
you kill
actually
yourself.
use that. They actually use that in like the speed run.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
pretty neat.
I don't know if you've seen it, but you can actually use that like right off the gate and get like and just jump to the final mountain and
Yeah.
beat the last boss.
Yeah, that's insane. I remember one quest that like startled me a little bit was I got to like Balmora or something like that, and then you sleep in your house or something, and then like this dude fucking wakes you up, you know?
Wait,
Yeah.
Because you're used to sleeping in the game because that's how you like. I think it's how you level up or something like that, or you have to sleep for some reason.
Yeah, you have to rest to level up.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the games.
So like you rest and you're used to a certain thing happening, and then like in the middle of your fucking rest this dude wakes you up, and I don't remember if he threatens you or tells you what to do, or tells you that you're the Neverine or something like that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool story too. Like I didn't really give that much of a shit about Oblivion or Skyrim's story. It was always like those guild quests that were more interesting, but I thought that the main story in Morrowind was pretty good.
I mean, they copied that same interaction in both Oblivion and Skyrim, but
Oh yeah.
especially with I think is the Dark Brotherhood quests.
I think
in
yeah, that's right.
Skyrim that happens where somebody tries to kill you in your sleep.
Yeah. And people interact with you different if you're a fucking dark elf or anything else, you know?
Oh yeah, that was true. It's much more prevalent in Morrowind than the other games.
There's like a theme of racism or whatever.
Yeah, which I'm sure they shied away from the other games because of, I don't know, racism is a touchy subject, but
Yeah.
unless you're
Cool.
Casey.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. You're a POC supporter.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we pretty solidly hit Morrowind. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we go on to number 4?
Poop.
Nice. All right, Ben. Give us that.
I have a question.
Oh, Casey. Question. Okay.
I wasn't listening to any of that. Can you repeat all of it?
No.
Okay.
All right, Ben. That number, that sweet, sweet number 4.
4. Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that means Mass Effect 2.
Jesus
Number
Christmas.
4.
So mathematical with your answers.
Yeah, it's gotta be completely mathematical.
You played the fuck out of Mass Effect 2. Tell us about it.
And it's the best Mass Effect there is.
Andromeda can suck our dicks already. It's not even
Yeah.
out.
No, it'll be the best Mass Effect ever. Because Andromeda's gonna suck. We all know it's gonna suck.
Yeah, it's
Really, I don't
probably
know
gonna
anything
suck.
about it.
You don't have to. I mean, really.
You already know that they fucking peaked, and you can't
Yeah.
reach that peak again.
And that peak was Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
So,
1.
2.
1.
2?
1.
Unless you must really enjoy elevators and driving
Yeah, I
around
did. 'Cause
empty
there was
planets.
a sense of Yeah, I did because there was a sense of characterization in the elevators.
There was
People
like-
actually interacted with one another outside of just Commander Shepard.
I don't know.
So tell us about Mass Effect 2.
I don't think you have a leg to stand on if you refuse to play that game more than once. So
What the fuck? Oh, that's bullshit. That's utter retarded. If that's utterly retarded.
So you played the game more than once. What kind of playthroughs did you go through with Mass Effect 2?
all of them,
Nice.
every single one.
Did you have a favorite way to play it?
Well, I mean, my first playthrough is always Paragon, or actually neutral.
Really?
Not
I didn't
even-
know that there was like a neutral, like, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can be. It seems like there's only 2 options of Paragon and Renegade, but you can actually be like dead center.
Does the
And
game
it's-
do different shit if you're dead center?
Yeah, it does. Which it's mostly in the way people react to you.
Yeah.
It does play a lot different.
So, like, one of the differences with Mass Effect 2 that I didn't really like, but I could appreciate, was they added ammo to the game. Like, I thought that the gunplay in Mass Effect 2 was, like, way, way better than Mass Effect 1, but I kind of liked that that like heat.
The overheating.
Yeah, the overheating version of the gameplay or whatever.
Yeah, I did too, because it was like a different kind of strategy to it.
Yeah, but I don't know. You can control your people a little bit more in Mass Effect 2, I think, than in Mass Effect 1. Is that right?
Yeah, you could.
Tell people what to do and shit.
Yeah.
See, that's why I think they made a mistake in 1 by adding that even in the first place. Because the gunplay just felt like a chore rather than a thing you had to do, like an actual part of the gameplay. Like, because in 1, it's like, oh, I have infinite ammo, so all I have to do is find the target, look at it, and just keep shooting until either it goes too hot or whatever.
Yeah.
Still felt like a chore in 2.
No, I mean, it felt more like actual, like, tactical combat.
Yeah, it did feel more tactical in 2, and I don't know why. I remember, like, you could break the game in 1 where, like, you could just shoot shit that couldn't attack you. Like Geth or something, or really far away, and you just snipe the shit out of them. So I broke the game a little bit when I was playing 1, but they made it a lot tighter in 2.
Yeah, and the gunplay just seemed like an afterthought in 1.
Yeah.
But in 2, the combat was a lot more fun. The interactions I felt and the varied characters were a lot better.
Yeah, the characters were pretty good in 2.
Because there was, like, a lot of the characters in 1 were, like, humans, like, that you actually got to interact with. And
That is true.
they added a lot more races and kind of made the not only just like the worlds, like the universe, but like the culture and like the how many alien races are actually out there, which makes up the galactic culture, just like more.
They fill that out.
Yeah, it felt more varied, like you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
I liked how the storyline also changed from being, I don't know if you call it like nationalist or whatever, just like the whole first one was just like all on humans and human interests, and then it just became on like it was more about the characters, your like chosen interests, based on whether you wanted to be Paragon or
yeah, I guess that is
Renegade.
True. Yeah, the game is more about you when you're playing Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 1's more human-centered, like trying to get on the council, and you're the first fucking Spectre, and trying to do your shit for humankind, and then Mass Effect 2. Yeah.
I actually like that more, though, because Commander Shepard's just kind of boring as a character.
Well, you make the character, like, you are the character in that point. It's a canvas for you to make decisions. It's not really...
binary decisions that really still pigeonhole him as a character.
I mean, you still have an ultimate objective, which, I mean, you get
Which is extremely vague in 2 compared to 1.
Right. And you don't know... You're kind of in the dark about what it is in the second one.
Oh, yeah, because that's where the Cerberus thing comes in, and you don't know if you're evil or good, right?
Right.
That was a pretty neat aspect of the story, I thought.
Yeah, because I thought, you're basing this off of pretty much the best logic you can come up with, and reasoning for surviving, and you also know, based off the end, stuff that everybody else doesn't, and you kind of, I don't know, it felt more interesting of a story as you were trying to basically solve the universe's problems, and nobody else would listen to you.
Yeah, Casey and I were talking about like this cool moment that we liked about the characters, or at least I liked. That he thought it was neat. That you don't know if Jack's a guy or a girl.
Yes, that was nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Jack was my favorite side character. I think it was for that reason.
You didn't know Jack was a guy or a girl?
No, because they never address her by he or she until you meet her.
Yeah, it's implied that it's a guy or something.
Oh, you're talking before you actually meet her.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, looking at her is a pretty good indication. I'm like, what are you guys on? But yeah. When you don't know. And even the characters, like, you're Jack? Like, like, did we get the right Jack? Is he around?
Yeah. I remember I felt bad because in Mass Effect 1, my love interest was Ashley, and then Ashley wasn't really involved in Mass Effect 2.
Thank God.
And then I ended up sleeping with Miranda, and I was like, oh shit, Ashley's gonna be pissed.
Dude, I thought about that with Miranda, but every time I looked at her, I just got this creepy, uncanny valley sense from her.
Yeah, but you weren't looking
just
at her
looks like this,
titties
like-
hard enough. Was the
She
problem?
just looks like this
basically.
doll-faced thing.
You just have to look away from the face
Casey,
and
people pay
don't listen to
thousands of
her.
dollars for that.
That's nice.
But yeah, I liked all those side quests too. Like it seemed, I don't know, all the characters had pretty good side quests. Was
I
there
agree
DLC
with
for
me that
Mass
you didn't
Effect
think the
2, or
story
was
was
that
strong.
only Mass Effect 3 that had DLC?
No, there was DLC for 2 as well.
Okay. Did you play it?
No, actually.
Oh shit.
A lot of it was well, a lot of it was like actually like very minor things like weapons and stuff like that, which I
Yes,
think I
that's
actually did get. But there is actually like another character that's DLC that adds up a story mission. It's actually a Prothean, I believe, or is that 3? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Great.
I don't remember either.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty good
That
commentary.
and the
on it,
ending
too.
mission and how you can like fail things
Oh yeah, that was
is like the best
controversial.
part.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
if you didn't do the side quest, then people fucking die.
See,
Yeah.
it felt to me like that was a little too hammered in. It was just like, oh, you should have done all these things. Oh, too bad.
No, but I mean that I thought that kind of lended to how much you cared about the characters. Actually, you kind of like, oh, if you didn't really give a shit, then
Well, okay, the character,
Yeah.
sure, but like the fucking, like when you have to do all those upgrades for your ship and all that, it's like those upgrades only mattered in the final mission, and they will flat out just say like, "Good thing we got that new armor," or "Good thing we've got those. Let's show them our new high-powered weaponry." And it's like, oh, good. Glad I did that so early on in the game just to forget that. Oh, right, I upgraded that shit because people told me to.
well, I mean, part of it was actually like a lot of those were like outright said that's what the objective was for getting it.
Okay,
Yeah.
still felt like it could have been implemented a bit better, rewarding you for doing it.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I mean, the story can be quite short if you go pretty fast, but
I kind of like the aspect of the game rewarding you for doing the extra content. And then I guess I didn't see it that way until you said that, Ben, that like if you didn't do the fucking extra content, then you probably didn't give a shit about the characters anyways.
yeah, it's like if you weren't. It seems like the ending gave you the more effort you put in towards the game, the more you were rewarded in the end for the
Yeah.
as of a positive outcome or not.
Yeah.
I agree with you character-wise. I just think that the ship aspects alone were a bit like ham-handed.
See, I didn't even think about the shift to be honest, because personally I do like every side quest in the game that's even possible. So that's
Well, yeah,
like,
I do too, but it just felt a
So
bit bizarre when they would mention it like that.
Yeah, it was probably a little ham-handed, but I agree like with the concept that you'd want to upgrade your ship and whatever
No,
else,
absolutely, yeah.
and that
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
but-
didn't, then it'd make sense that people would die and shit. Or
But
more
I'm
people
talking
would
like
die.
I'm talking about how they like just flat out like pretty much wink at you as the final cutscenes are happening. Like, good thing we got that new armor. We've been toast.
Oh yeah.
well, if you don't get it, like there's an option of not doing it and not getting it, and
I am aware, but they
you
did not
sustain
have
a
to,
lot of damage. And
They didn't have to do that little wink to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
I suppose.
I'd rather them mention it at least once during the story.
No, they
Instead-
should have found more reasons to have it in there.
I don't follow.
They
I'm
should have
sorry.
had more reasons to make you want to upgrade your ship, or more rewards for doing so, like unlocking different missions or something, or getting different outcomes for certain key missions outside of the final one.
Oh, okay? So that there would be more reasons to do it other than you'd get fucked once later in the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. How many reasons do you really need to do one specific thing in a video game ever?
More than just the final reason.
Really? I mean, because you never really know the reason until the end of the game anyway.
You just said that you knew the reason. You said that you know exactly why you're doing it early on for the main mission.
Right. But if there was another purpose to it, and you wouldn't know there was another purpose to it until it happened. So I never really expected it to be anything more than what it seemed to be. You know, if it was something else, I wasn't expecting it to be also something else.
Well, I'm glad for you, I guess.
Yeah.
I wanted more from it.
I think it could have given more, but I think that it was really good for, like, because I think this was one of those first games that gave you a lot of options, like, as an RPG, where you could get different endings. So, like, it did do a lot for its time and place. And I think if they did it over now, that they'd have more options.
Because I played it over and over again just for the endings, mostly. Just to see what would happen, you know, if I didn't have upgraded armor or weapons, or I didn't have certain characters, or if I chose certain characters to do certain roles. That's what made me play it so many freaking times, is stuff like that. Not only, you know, the you not only had, you know, the Paragon, the Renegade, the Neutral interactions with all the characters, but then you had the varying levels of interaction with you, with the story and the missions, and how far you take it, and then seeing what your outcome is at the end. You know, while slight, you know, they are there, and it is interesting that you can...
But they are slight.
In some degrees, you can actually completely fail the entire end mission.
Right. I'm aware of that.
That's pretty cool.
Which I thought was incredibly interesting as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did it. I failed. Like, everybody died, you know.
Shit. Wow.
And it was amazing. It was amazing that like to realize, like, the game just let me fail. Like,
yeah, that's uncommon.
Yeah, and it's like, shit. Like, that game made it actually feel like your choices had weight in that regard.
Yeah. As
opposed to not only that, but like, not only could, like, characters you really like die, like, even if you put in, like, the effort, like, with characters you really liked, there was a chance that even if you did everything correctly, one of your favorite characters could die if you chose them for, you know, the wrong role, or even for a role, and they just, you know, by random chance died.
Wow.
Oh yeah, because they are so vague with how they telegraph what kind of role you need.
Well, I mean, they have, like, you know, kind of to what degree, but you know, sometimes you have, like, favorite characters that you put in your party all the time, and you're like, oh, they want my favorite party member to go and do that? Yeah, I'll take option B. Thanks. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, but since I did that, so-and-so actually died.
Yeah.
Or you think, oh, okay, I'm pretty sure my favorite character can handle that role. He'll be fine, and then he dies, and it's like, shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm not seeing this quite as well, because, like, I mean, I did enjoy the characters, but I wasn't heavily invested in any of them because it just felt too brief your time with them. And because you don't see them really do anything outside of interact with you, it's just kind of like, okay, well, I guess that's it for us.
I don't know, Casey. I can't see the world through Casey eyes.
Oh, whatever.
I just don't understand your position.
Okay, like, so at certain points in the game, they have you make a choice between two characters, like having a dilemma, right?
Right.
Why couldn't they do more than that? Like, this is what I don't care about with this, like, with the Mass Effect storyline. They show a lot of, like, characters interacting with you, but Commander Shepard is a boring little fuckhead. I want to see them interact with each other, and that's why I like the elevator conversations in 1, because that would be like a chance to be like, oh, wow, this is what Tali and Garrus think about each other when they're talking on an elevator. It's that kind of characterization that helps make a story better for me, and I don't think Mass Effect 2 delivers on that quite as well.
Well, they did, and it sometimes how
does it deliver better?
some of the characters like don't really get along at all. But the ones that do, when you put them on missions together, or in certain situations, will also make comments and things and talk about the experience if they have a certain stake in it somehow, on the different missions you take the characters on. So if you always take the same characters on the same missions all the time, then you won't see that. But
I didn't take the same characters.
I mean,
that's the thing. I never had like favorite characters. I evenly used every arrangement I could.
Well, that's where playing the game like a couple times comes into play though, because you only get that one experience with a certain set for a specific mission. You sometimes miss out on things.
All right.
Yeah. Well, Mass Effect 2 seems to bring a little bit of contention, but I think we understand where you're coming from, Ben. What's number 3?
Thanks, buddy.
What's number 3?
Number 3, since it's number 3, there's 3 parts to it.
Trying to think of what that could be.
So it is Half-Life 2 and episodes 1 and 2.
Nice, nice. I wasn't expecting this one. Casey hasn't played any of these, has he?
Nope.
Oh, wow. They're great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the first, I guess, I don't know. It was like one of the biggest PC games I got. It was like the highest production value I had seen at the time.
Yeah. Half-Life 2 you're talking about?
Yeah, when it first came out.
Yeah.
And just, I knew almost nothing about it. Didn't even play Half-Life 1 before I played Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what was going on. But it didn't really matter. I didn't really need any backstory. And this kind of game, probably the same vein of Mass Effect 2, where Case would probably hate this game, or at least the main character, because they are completely silent, and in that vein, probably boring.
No, that's actually more interesting because that's more of you inserting yourself into a player. I mean, into an avatar.
Okay.
Because Commander Shepard actually has dialogue and specifically written lines that give him character, whether or not he's supposed to be an avenue for the player.
I guess.
I think that Casey would like Half-Life 2 because I think that it has some of the most varied gameplay for a shooter, even comparing it to modern shooters.
Yeah. I mean, there's melee combat, but there's only one melee weapon. But that's...
And you have the gravity gun, and there's like a bunch of fucking puzzles to complete,
Yeah.
I remember there's this one fucking house that was on stilts in the middle of like this canyon, and you couldn't get to it. And I think that the game wanted me to go around or something like that, but I was like, how the fuck am I gonna get there? So I built a bridge with the gravity gun with like a whole bunch of crates and nonsense. It took me like 30 minutes.
That's the thing that would worry me about games like that, is how easy it would be to exploit a mechanic like that.
But I think Half-Life 2 like takes it into account really well, a lot of the possibilities that you can do. And there's usually like pretty simple objectives, so like...
Well, and the fact that it took you 30 minutes, I guess, means that, I mean, that was more just your willingness than...
Oh, yeah. The game didn't want me to do that. There was an easier way to do it. I think that there was like this one long plank later on or something that you could put down, or I don't remember.
And there's like a lot of interaction. Like there's certain parts of the levels where you can't even touch the ground.
The floor is lava.
Yeah, it literally is.
Extreme.
So
Yeah.
well, not literally lava, but the equivalent of like, you'll die pretty much.
Yeah.
If you touch the ground. So you have to like build bridges and like drag like debris with you to kind of create stuff to walk on.
Mm-hmm.
And it has so many things where it's like interactive like that, where it's like suspenseful and also a puzzle at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's also like legitimately like scary parts of the game where, it becomes like a horror game at parts.
Oh, yeah.
Like an action adventure game at parts. And there's a whole story happening around you, and it's happening at like a very fast pace at times, and so you just kind of like along for the ride, or you're just in the fight, and it's just very immersive, and it's got awesome sci-fi elements, and the weapons are great, and the gravity gun just makes everything more interesting, especially for the time. That was like the first game where you like I could even like remember that you like actively interacted with the world
Yeah.
around you.
I remember like even the beginning of that game like set that like nervous tone when you like get out of the train and you're in like this city with a whole bunch of like guards that you don't understand that are motioning you to go places. If you don't go there, they hit you.
Yeah.
And like a lot of those puzzles that you're talking about, like I remember there's a few times in the game where they have like these walker things, or no, it's not walker things. It's like you have to shoot down something with like an RPG.
Yeah, those the giant like they look like stilt striders.
Yeah. That like I remember parts of that game being like super fucking stressful and intense.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And then like that horror place with the guy with that like throws you a shotgun and like
Ravenholm, yeah.
Yeah, that place was fucking awesome. And like it was so cool to like
scared the crap out of me.
take the gravity gun and have like saws and like
Yeah.
shoot fucking those zombie things heads off with the saws.
Yeah, that was just great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I dread that part of the game every time, but
I have to replay that. I think I played through it twice, but I'd love to play through it again. And if they ever announce Half-Life 3, I'm gonna play through everything and try and prep for it.
I really recommend playing Black Mesa too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I've been playing through that. I finally beat Half-Life 1, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
At least for me. But Black Mesa is so much better, and they got the feel, and like they made Half-Life 1 a lot better.
Yeah.
And hopefully when the end, although I would play the original just to see what the difference is.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently they're also they haven't even finished Black Mesa, but the end of the game in Half-Life 1 is kind of short and very different, and they're trying to change it all around and make it actually interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a little bit about that, and I'd like to try it out when they're done.
Because even the end of Half-Life 1's a little like buggy, because I somehow like broke the game where I got to somewhere I wasn't supposed to and thought I was just stuck in a puzzle I couldn't understand for the longest time, but it turns out I just broke the game by accident.
Nice.
when I shouldn't have.
And I really like the episodes. Like, from what I remember about them, I only played each one once. But I remember them being a little bit more story-driven than the actual main game. Like, you were in the fucking tower that was controlling shit or whatever in the second one.
Well, the first one was just like took up exactly where the end of Half-Life 2 is. And it's kind of like the ending is kind of almost cliffhanger-ish. And then, it kind of, you go, I don't want to ruin anything, but for Casey.
No, go ahead. I'm not actually paying that much attention.
Well, it's just, the first one is just more like a continuation, really, of the story of where Half-Life 2 ends. But it's just very well done.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a roller coaster ride. Like,
I remember it being really cinematic and like it seemed like it was a cutscene happening, but it was like real time gameplay stuff.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stressful moments, like the caves with the trying to defend yourself with the what are they called? I can't really remember what they're called. I think they're called Gorgons. I don't think they were.
Oh, those
Vortigons.
Like, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, you're like in a cave and you have to defend like each
and you
entrance.
Keep teleporting or something.
Yeah, and it kind of felt like the game took on like a tower defense kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
It just like each segment of every Half-Life 2 game and like and even the episodes kind of took on like its own like genre, or even like I don't know, like individual sections of every part of the Half-Life 2 games could have been like considered its own genre, or
Yeah.
even
That's rare for a
style
video
of game. Yeah, and it's done so subtly and so like intuitively that you don't even realize it. You just feel like you're playing a mini game, you know? Like,
Yeah. Like they have those wave racer sections when you're on like that hover thing.
yeah,
And then the G-Man
yeah,
appears out of
being,
fucking nowhere over like this bridge or something.
and you're being chased by helicopters,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah, super
yeah,
intense.
it goes from the pacing is just like, it's very well done. It goes from, you know, creeping you out to like making you worried to then being like adrenaline, like blood pumping, like, oh god, gotta run, and then you get to safety and it's like, okay,
And then a
gotta
pleasant
hide.
platformer.
And then it's like, oh shit, there's zombies here. And then it's like suspense. And then it's like, oh, there's antlions everywhere, and the ground is lava. And then it's like, oh, and everybody's caught up with you again. So run. Okay, you're in here. Okay, oh shit, you're stuck inside a fucking prison. And everything's trying to kill you. So now you have to set up like defenses and hunker down for a while. And,
yeah, I forgot about that. That was awesome.
it's the whole thing is just, and then you know you get like the really slow methodical portions where you're like creeping along the tower towards the end of the game, and it's just the pacing and like the interaction and everything, and like the narrative of the story, and like everybody, you know, everybody else's reactions around you of the main characters at least is quite genuine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the characters are unique and interesting, and you want to know more about them, but you don't get as much a chance to. But you're just waiting to meet up with them again, you know, for them to say something to you.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Nice. Ben, number 2. Was that number 3? Yeah, number 2.
Yeah.
Casey's favorite game of all time. Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, okay.
Well, he hasn't played this one, so it's going to be harder for him to shit on it.
No, he's gonna shit on it regardless.
Yeah.
Get on the title.
You had me play the beginning of this, and I couldn't handle it.
I know. It's a hard game to handle. They all are.
Yeah.
Is it just as badly written
As what?
as Metal Gear 1?
I mean, that's a highly subjective question.
Oh, good. So, yes.
No, I mean, it's since neither of you have played it, I would really suggest watching it. And I'd probably be giving shit from Metal Gear fans for saying it's my favorite, because people think it's.
I thought that was the fan favorite.
For most people, who you'd probably call casuals, yeah. So I guess I am.
Yeah,
I
tell
mean,
us.
and I
tell
love
us why you like
Metal
it.
Gear Solid 5 too, and that's hated by a lot of Metal Gear Solid fans. There's an incredible amount of depth to the game, with the interaction with the characters. I think Casey would like that part a lot, although he might not have the patience for it, because like there is so many unique like voice interactions, although it's hardly playing a game, but it's completely optional most of the time, where you can call a whole host of characters, and they have interesting things to say, you know, based on like where you are in the game, like specific areas they might say specific things.
Yeah,
Whether
like what you call Papyrus.
Right, but like way more in depth, and like like for each area in the game, like they might say something like there might be a character that actually gives you information about that area, and they're like, oh, you're here, this is what, you know, here's all about that area. Or there's an entire conversations you can have with one of the people about food, like, because you have to find your own food. So you might, like, if you ate something recently, and you know, and then you talk to this person, they might tell you about something either you caught or you ate, and like, and if you haven't eaten that food yet, and they talk about it, They might say one thing, but if you have, you might, chime in and say whether it tasted good or not.
Hmm.
Certain like, small details like that. And I swear there must be like hundreds of hours of conversation, just like recording between the different characters, and like even like very specific like events that if you do certain things can even generate like very hilarious lines. Like if you call specific people while you're doing something, like there's even like nudie magazines that you can use to distract guards. But
That's awesome.
if you equip one and then look in first person and then call a specific person, they'll like yell at you like, "What are you looking at?"
That's cool. I like that
yeah.
kind of that detail work. That what I saw of Casey playing in Metal Gear Solid 1. There's a lot of that. That was kind of it's neat because you usually don't see that kind of depth with a lot of other games in just like
guys,
story stuff.
I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
And there's actually a lot more of that in Metal Gear Solid 1 than you probably even realize there is.
Yeah.
And would take you, many playthroughs or a lot of, or just watching on YouTube. But
Yeah.
all of the games have had pretty incredible depth with that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think specifically because of the amount of like the cast of characters you have in Metal Gear Solid 3, and the different like gameplay options, such as needing camouflage, which you didn't really need in the other ones. Food, unique interactions with things like that. Like if you don't log into the game for a while and you come back to the game, all the food you had stored will be rotten.
Oh shit! Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it'll keep track of stuff like that. Like, there's all unique interactions with time. In one of the bosses, can actually die of old age if you wait for too long before going to fight him.
Holy shit! That's crazy.
You just come up upon him and he's passed away.
Wow.
And then, it's a unique ways of beating each fight. There's lethal and non-lethal methods of killing every boss, and each boss has their own like gimmick, and like it's kind of in the it's almost like each boss is like its own mini game. They all have unique like characteristics and different tactics you need to use in order to beat them.
Yeah.
As well as like weapons, but you're rewarded for non-lethally killing everybody. Like you get specific camos from the bosses if you beat them non-lethally, and
yeah,
things like that.
That's awesome.
One of the bosses is actually a ghost, and the ghosts of every guard that you've killed up until that point in the game will show up.
I love that kind of shit.
With like the with like the injuries that you gave them too.
What?
Yeah. So like, I saw somebody do a playthrough where they shot every guard in the crotch. And so when he got to that fight, every guard is walking around with their hands grasped to their crotch. and they scream at you saying, "You wouldn't think this is funny if it was you," and stuff like that.
That's amazing. Holy shit,
yeah.
The detail. That's crazy.
So there's just so much like detail, and you're so rewarded. Like it's kind of like Mass Effect 2 to the point where you're rewarded for your interactions and you're digging deeper into the game.
Yeah.
Like you actually get something out of it, whether you take it as a face value like action game, or you actually like
play around with it
and actually interact with it.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely rewarded for that.
That's
and
awesome.
I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to give it a shot.
It's also a very difficult game, and there's so much room for like skill. Like it's a game where you can be really skilled at it, or you can be really bad at it.
Yeah.
But you can beat it either way. but being really skilled at it feels like a challenge, and
Yeah.
it's a completely different experience watching like somebody really talented at the gameplay and you playing it being really bad with horrible aim, but the
Yeah.
people who actually are really good at it look and feel like badasses, and
That's
yeah.
awesome. I know that I felt really awkward with it just because I'm used to a certain way of playing shooters or whatever, where you have the two sticks and you just control the gun that way, you know. But this game is kind of like top down, and then you have to press a button to start aiming, and then it changes you over to like first person or third person or something like that.
Right.
It was just a different control style that I wasn't used to, and then I think that was the thing that threw me off of playing the game. But if I can get over that, I'm sure I'd enjoy it.
It is very difficult, and it almost makes it feel like more, not really realistic, but it makes it feel like, you have to put in more effort to actually, operate it like you probably would, in a realer situation. I mean, it's still a video game and it's still outlandish in very many ways, but it challenges you to, not just be, a shooter where you're running around just easily, running around with a gun and killing everybody, just like Call of Duty style. Like, so it kind of like hampers you purposefully to kind of, work around that, almost like Splinter Cell in a way.
Yeah, I can see that. That's awesome. That sounds good. I'd like to play it. Is that about it for the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater?
I think so.
All right. So, are we going to number 1?
I think we are.
Of all time?
All times.
Give it to us, Ben.
Times all. Number 1 top game is Risk of Rain.
Holy shit! What the fuck? Really? Wow.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting that, but you beat the ever-living shit out of this game.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
And there's a good reason why. I mean, it's probably my favorite game of all time to play anytime.
Yeah.
Like,
not
only is it really good in what it does, but it's also really fun. And that makes it unique from a lot of games, in that a lot of games just are not fun, or are way too frustrating. And this game, not only is it's one of the few games that I can play over and over again, and it's the same content over and over again, but it's always interesting, and it never makes me mad.
Yeah.
it never makes me rage at it, because it's very fair, and it's very fun, and it's very tailorable to how you want to play.
Yeah. So, give us an overview of what Risk of Rain is, because this is probably not as well known as any other game that you've mentioned so far.
So Risk of Rain is a roguelite 2D side-scrolling shooter that involves semi-random levels. There's a set number of levels, and there's set different like styles to the levels that are like slightly random to which the style you can get for the same level.
Yeah.
And there's a pseudo order to them, or a chance to get a certain level at an order in the game. And there's, I believe, at minimum 4 levels that you have to complete to beat the game. But there's also unlockable weapons and items and abilities that you can unlock for future playthroughs. There's characters you can unlock that have individual skills, and each character has its own unique skills. That's kind of
changes
representative
the gameplay up a bit.
What. Yeah, they kind of, it's based on what that character is, his skills are, and it also changes, how you actually play the game.
Yeah.
based on the character you're actually playing. And, you know, there's also challenges you have to do in order to unlock characters, to unlock items, to find hidden items that you can unlock, special modifiers for the game.
Which game is this?
Risk of Rain.
Good game.
Number
Real
1.
Good game. Damn, seriously?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of all the games, that is not one I would have pegged as your number 1.
I was surprised, but it makes sense.
Good game. Real good. Yeah, considering how much time he put into trying to get 100% on that fucker.
So I have 238 hours in it recorded by Steam.
Jesus Christmas.
I have all the achievements unlocked on Steam, but I am still, since I had to
Reboot it.
restart my account because I lost my save file. I'm still trying to collect 100% again.
Yeah.
In the game, because there are some really random chance items that, like, very specific bosses drop as collectibles that I still don't have.
Have they added any new characters since we stopped playing?
The last two that were added were the chef and the loader. I don't think nobody's been added since then.
That's a shame. I feel like they still have plenty of legs to go in terms of like characters they could put in.
I'd love for them to make a sequel.
Yeah.
I want a sequel to this game more than anything. In fact, I'm tempted to make my own sequel at this
Holy
point.
shit.
I've
It was a
considered
really
it.
good game.
I've considered just like trying to copy their art style and learning how to program and making a Risk of Rain 2.
Wow.
Legitimately.
Watch out. I don't even remember. I don't even know who the
That made
developer
Risk
is.
of Rain 2.
Watch out, you.
Watch out, guys.
It's a Hopo game or Ho.
Oh, that's right.
Hopo Games.
Yeah, I remember now.
There's actually an item called the Hopo Feather, which allows you to double jump.
double jump.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which
Love that thing.
is another aspect of the game that I really like is the scaling items. Like, you know, your character.
You could add double to something.
Yeah, and your items always like add more, like of what they do each time you get them. Some have like diminishing returns. Like I know by now that you really need to get more than 3. What's it called? It's
7 ukuleles.
It's there's 3 of like the evasion item that lets you randomly evade an attack. After 3 doesn't really stack too well, from what I understand. But yeah, I don't know. It's just such a satisfying game to play.
Yeah, it is.
And it's challenging and it can be mindless and
It puts you into a zen when you play it.
It does.
You want to like do another round if you fail, just because it's like that was a bad run. That was a bad run. I can do better. I can get better.
Yeah, and I'm never angry that I lost. It's just fun.
Yeah, no, you never were angry when we. Honestly, we usually laughed about it whenever we died.
Yeah. The
Dude,
only
remember?
downside is the netcode is kind of bad for playing multiplayer because of the lag. It's pretty bad
Dude,
usually.
Remember when we Remember when we were like doing a run of it, and you told me not to press like the Q button or something when we were like near the final level, and I accidentally did, and the next thing you know, we're at the start of the whole thing again.
What?
So when you get to the level before the last level, right? Like each level you have to get to a shrine.
Yeah.
In order to summon the last boss for that level, and then you get to move on to the next level once everything's dead.
Yeah.
On the level before the last level, you have 2 choices: whether to return to the first level to continue on with the same difficulty level. So basically, you return to level 1, and you have to fight your way back up to this level. But everything
essentially like new game plussing it.
Right. It's pretty much starting the game over again with the items you have, but everything's at the difficulty that you come up to. which is fun to do sometimes because you can keep going back over and over and over and over again, and the enemies just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And you get like some special enemies that don't show up during the regular game through, like plasma worms and stuff like that. And
also, you can continue to buff yourself up.
right, and you just become really more powerful. But like the bosses just keep coming too, a lot faster rate. And but you can hit either A to go back to the first level, which is the same button you hit normally to advance to the next level, or you hit Q to go to the final level. And Casey would often hit A instead of Q, but used to hitting A and not.
The first time it was a mistake, to be fair.
Yes.
Every time afterward was just, it was fun. It was good bonding time.
Yeah.
Good bonding time dying.
Sabotage.
Jacques.
Yeah.
That's
It
awesome.
becomes way harder in multiplayer too.
Which is weird because you wouldn't think so until you actually start like realizing why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's unique in that fact too.
Isn't Dungeon of the Endless also harder multiplayer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, quite harder.
Yeah. But
Oh,
that's a good list, Ben. I didn't expect that Risk of Rain topping.
Yeah, we can be friends again now. For a while, I hated you.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought I'd break you down and then build you right back up.
What, my admiration?
Yeah.
Ben really knows how to tell a story.
Yeah, you do.
Well,
You should also play Half-Life 2.
Yeah, I've got it. I'll play it one day.
What are you gonna play it on?
Steam. I've got it.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit, you should play it.
Yeah, I'll play it one day.
Awesome. Thank you for listening to the second episode of the Top 5 Gaming Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, and if you have any suggestions for other top 5s, please leave them in the comments.